Well, welcome to the, well, I guess this is the second official AVAnnotate workshop. We had an unexpected one last week or this week, or no, it was last week, run by Sam Turner and Trent Wintermeyer. I think Ben was there for ACH. This is I'm going to introduce myself in a second, but just giving this as a sort of a review, but this is brand new application based on a previous project, which I'll talk about in a second. My name is Tanya Clement. I am an associate professor in the English department at the University of Texas in Austin and the PI on the AVAnnotate project. We have some other team members in the group. Sam Turner is here. She is a PhD candidate in rhetoric at UT Austin. And Ben Bromfield from Bromfield Labs is also in the house and works as a consultant, a technical consultant on the project, and designed with Sarah Bromfield first iteration of this application, which was called AVAnnotate. This is similar but different. What I'm going to do with this workshop, if people could maybe well, why don't we do, actually, we have time. Let's just do a really brief introduction. Who are you? Where are you coming from? And why are you interested in IIIF and AV? That might be really helpful. I'll call your names since I can see everybody. Martin, you can introduce yourself if you like. That would be great.
Okay. Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining the workshop. I'm Martin Kalpadovic. I'm the managing director for IIIF. I started in July, so this is my first online meeting, and I'm really keen on the AV annotations. So this is a nice blending of the two. So thanks again for everyone attending, and back to Tanya.
Great. Thanks, Martin. Emily, you're next. Just a brief intro.
Hi, I'm Emily Leinema. I work at Indiana University, and I work in our digital media software development department. So working with our digitized audiovisual media and seeing how we can collaborate with AVAnnotate and the RAMP IIIF player.
Thank you. Steve Holloway.
Hi there, I'm Stephen Holloway, Associate Professor and Director of Metadata Strategies at James Madison University. I'm here because of the Furious Flower Poetry Center archives, which I had worked with Tanya and company on the AVAnnotate project. Now we're ramping it up for the next iteration.
Great, thank you. Trip Kirkpatrick, you're next on my screen.
Sure. Hi, Trip Kirkpatrick. I'm in IT at the Yale University Library. And I'm here because I support our online exhibits program, and so I'm interested in this from that angle.
Great, thank you. Kay Burton.
Hi, my name is Kelly Burton. I'm the media archivist at the National Gallery of Art in Washington, and I'm here because media.
Yeah. Ola.
Hi, I'm Ola Nowak from Poznań, Poland, and I work in an R&D company. We are providing multiple software components related with IIIF. Among them, there is a transcription software for text. So I just wondered what you do for audio video. Thanks.
Thank you. Marcin Helinski. Sorry.
Hello, my name is Marcin Helinski. I work together with Ola Nowak in Poznań. This is my first experience with audio video, actually, because our previous projects were related to mostly to text and images. Thanks.
Thank you. Let's see, Shannon.
Hi, I'm Shannon Morelli, the digital archivist at the National Gallery of Art, and I'm here to learn how we could make our AV collections more discoverable.
Thanks. Let's see. I think Martin might be on here twice. Kate Thomas.
Hello, I'm Kate Thomas. I'm a digitization officer from the British Library, and I'm here because we make our items available in IIIF. So I was looking to learn more about IIIF.
Great, thank you. Jim B.
Hi, I'm James Bradley or Jim Bradley from Ball State University. I'm here basically to learn more about IIIF functionality. Our current repository system is not IIIF enabled, but we're hoping to have one soon. And so I'm trying to familiarize myself with it and surrounding technologies.
Great, thanks. Lauren Harris.
Good morning. My name is Lauren Harris, and I'm actually a recent graduate from Indiana University in Indianapolis. So just trying to make sure I have the skill sets to preserve various media. So excited to be here.
Welcome. Mark Baggett.
Hey, yeah, I'm Mark Baggett. I'm the Director of Digital Collections at Texas A&M University, and I'm here because I'm really interested in specifically like the reuse of works with IIIF and trying to figure out different sorts of ways that we can use take our audio and video collections and use them in other ways that maybe we didn't originally intend. And so, yeah, I'm here to learn how maybe AVAnnotate can allow us to do that.
Great, thank you. Marcia Zhang.
Hi, I'm Marsha and from Kent State University and have been following IIIF from the very beginning.
Great.
I want to see how that's in the new AI age, how we can embrace more.
Great, thank you. Paul Fuller.
Hi, good morning. Name's Paul. I'm at the University of Southern Maine, and I'm just really interested in how we can make better use of our digital materials and our special collections. So,
Great.
Thanks.
Welcome. Marcella.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. My name is Marcella Suster. I am a librarian and the coordinator of the Digital Scholarship Hub at McGill University. And I've been working with annotation, different platforms for a while. So when I saw that there was something I didn't know, I was very excited to learn more about it.
Great, thanks. Sia P.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sia Pnechi. I'm at the British Library. I work with the International Two-Bond Program. And we've been using IIIF in our new website, which is recently launched. So we're interested in learning a little bit more about we can adapt maybe some of our video content to support fuller access.
Great, thanks. Jen Watchtel-Litwin.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jen Wachtel-Litwin. I'm at the National Archives. I'm looking for tools to expand access to our unprocessed vice presidential AV materials.
Great, thanks. Kate Doey.
Hi, good morning and afternoon and maybe evening, everybody. I'm Kate Doey. I'm the Director of Digital Programs and Initiatives for the University of Maryland Libraries in College Park, Maryland. We have a very large audiovisual archiving program and repository program, and I'm very interested in AVAnnotate, being able to expand access to that, both within our primary repository systems as well as potentially other areas that have been expressed as areas of interest, like our digital exhibitions platforms. So I'm here and excited to learn.
Great, thanks. Let's see, Rob Miles.
Hi, I'm Rob. I work for the London School of Economics, the Digital Library, and we've just procured a new IIIF system. So I'm just looking to learn more about the sort of capabilities.
Great. Nastasia?
Hello, I'm Nastasia. I work at MEMO, Flemish Institute for Archives in Belgium. We have a lot of audiovisual material, and I was just curious.
Great, thank you. Anne Lawley?
Good morning, Anne Lally from the University of Washington. I help support digital collections within special collections, and so I'm always interested in learning new platforms and new tools that can help us share our collections as well as people sort of interact with them.
Great, Thank you. Ji Chen? Might be saying it wrong. Let's see, Carol.
Hi, everybody. I'm Carol Castle from NYU's Digital Library and what everybody else said. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, this is getting people came in after I started this, but now I want to go through everybody. Let's see, Eben English.
Hi, I'm Eben English from the Boston Public Library. I run our digital repository. We've been supporting IIIF for our image collections and text collections for a long time, but looking to expand that to our growing audiovisual materials. Thanks.
Great. Thank you. I'm gonna actually, there's more people coming in, and I feel like this could last the entire time. If you haven't been able to introduce yourself, please just give us a brief introduction in the chat window. And I apologize that we didn't get to you. One of the reasons I do like to do this at the beginning of a workshop is AV comes from all kinds of different disciplines, different needs, different use cases, different communities. The AVAnnotate, which I'm going to show to you today, it can be useful in all of those places. We are sort of discipline agnostic. It doesn't really matter. Since you are the person who is creating the content, it doesn't actually matter to us what kind of content you create. Let me start my slideshow. And that is something to say at the very, very beginning. So AVAnnotate is uses IIIF, produces IIIF, and it is a presentation tool. It does very little automatically for you. It does not create annotations for you. It allows you to present and share your annotations, and it creates a platform in which those annotations can be indexed and searched and presented in a variety of ways. So I want to say that at the beginning. If you're looking for an AI solution, this is not an AI solution. This is something that could be, we imagined it could be situated in the workflow of AI for correcting, for quality control, for creating annotations in collaborative ways. But again, and it could be a good way of taking automatically created transcriptions and putting them together with your AV assets and presenting them in a nice way that you might not have. It is, as the screen is saying, digital exhibits, basically created in GitHub using Jekyll pages. There is not a database behind AVAnnotate. So all of the information that you create sits in your GitHub account. So it is reliant on having a GitHub user login. And we've got some directions on that. So just setting the stage for you. It is meant to be lightweight. We follow the principles of minimal computing in DH, which is to say it's free. It is not built on a database. You don't have to put up a server. You can, in our new version, create a project and put it on your own server. If you don't want it to sit on GitHub, you can actually create it and then publish it out. And as I mentioned at the very beginning, it is basically still brand new. We are still doing some development, dealing with bugs and little things that are not working just yet, but we are nearing the end of this development phase, and it is stable and ready for use. I'm running the workshop today more or less, and Sam Turner, who is here on the call, will help out with questions on chat, and both of us can help out. The entire team can help out after the workshop. If you want to use the software, it is currently being developed with funding from the Mellon Foundation, and much of that funding allows me to have a team that can help other people. So Sam can also put our Google group and our Slack link into the chat, please, Sam, and you all can avail yourself of those. Because we have just come to the end of a pretty big development phase, we are actively creating documentation. So I have some documentation for you today, but that documentation will become more robust over the next couple of months. And we are available for questions and concerns. So I'm going to launch into this. This is our website. This is where you can basically get to some really quick how-to start guides, as well as the application itself. So that's av-annotate.org. This is our present team, myself, as I mentioned, Ben and Sarah Broomfield of Broomfield Labs. Performance Software Solutions has created the AVAnnotate iteration of this project. There is a, as I mentioned, a previous iteration called AVAnnotate, but since we work with audio and video, we changed the name, and this is a new application. And then I have a host of graduate students and undergraduates, including the graduate student Sam Turner, who's on this call, working with me. They can run workshops, they can help you with issues that come up. If there are bugs, we want to hear about those. We're posting those in Slack. However, we will open up and announce on the Google group someplace where, well, people can also post it on the Google group. These are our partners in the project. I list these primarily to indicate, again, the breadth of kinds of AV assets that are in the world and people want to be able to use in research and teaching and otherwise. We are also, you can see on the bottom of this list, we are working with Aviary and Avalon to help make sure that IIIF players are interoperable. We meet fairly regularly, and another plug that's associated with this project is for the IIIF AV group. We meet once a month. I'm co-chairing with John Dunn from Indiana, and also of Avalon and Ramp Player fame. And we often talk about how we can make sure that the IIIF manifests that we are producing are interoperable with the players that we are developing. With AV, we all know this, you can't just sort of look at it, it has to be played. And there are a variety of ways to play AV dependent on what the user community wants to see or wants to engage with. So it's a healthy environment of different players, but we also want to make sure that we are producing IIIF that works across those platforms and can be, moved around dependent on what people need. So why did we produce this tool? Some of you have sort of gotten to the point of this already. So what I found in my own research, actually just wrote a book called Dissonant Records out of MIT Press. And when I was doing my own research in audio recordings and archives, it struck me how difficult it can be to work with AV, even when it is, quote unquote, being made accessible. And so we tried to create this tool to help with issues of copyright and permissions, complexities around sensitive material, the lack of descriptive metadata, a lack of tools for basic scholarly methods that allow you to use AV in the classroom for teaching. And what our main goal is to facilitate the collection, storing, and sharing of timestamp notes about AV recordings. So creating an environment in which we can share context. So I can't solve all these issues that are in my bullet points, but we do think that the ability to create context around AV recordings and sharing that context, whether it's even just in the reading room at your local institution, goes a long way with making sure that people have an experience with the AV materials that is conducive to wanting to do more, not getting frustrated, etc. So what is it? AVAnnotate uses free and open source web tools, so Jekyll and GitHub pages to create static sites on GitHub to share context around AV artifacts. And we create IIIF manifests. We allow people to present their ideas around annotations and the AV artifacts, which I'll show you in a second, as well as take in IIIF manifests. One of the ways that we imagine the use of AVAnnotate, and we've heard this as a need and a want from our various partners, is that sometimes you want to be able to make your AV accessible to the world. However, you might not have the resources, or whether they're people resources or technical resources to handle all the different ways that people want to use the AV, your AV assets. And obviously this is where IIIF comes in, and third-party tools like our own comes in. One of the things that we can imagine is people creating projects with your AV assets over in GitHub. They're not your responsibility. They're, maybe they're play spaces, maybe they're not things that you even necessarily want to be associated with. However, oftentimes, one of our partners at Yale, who's working with the Fortunoff collection and the Holocaust testimonies, in their situation, they have fellows coming in. They want the fellows to be able to create context around their oral histories, sensitive materials, places that aren't there anymore, code switching, language swapping in oral histories, and having the public come in, having fellows come in and actually create that context. They want to be able to pull those projects back into their aviary environment. And this allows for a space where you can do collaborative work, editorial work, kind of think of it as a rough draft of things before you sort of can pull it back in. Obviously, IIIF has a function there. So, why IIIF? I think some of you are here for that very question. I will say, Ben Brumfield, who's also on the call, is our project's local IIIF expert. So if you have IIIF questions, he'll readily jump in and tell you what you need to know. But primarily, we have focused, especially in our argument for funding to Mellon, on IIIF because we're interested in sustainability. We're interested in these larger questions of interoperability. And IIIF is sustainable and interoperable because it presents time-based media consistently. It has defined metadata standards, a consistent API, enables this kind of association of additional context and information with the original items, and allows for other third-party tools like ours to function with these tools. In one example that has been useful for us and our partners, AVAnnotate runs in the browser. Lots of tools that are standards-based run in a browser. So in fact, you can create an AVAnnotate project with your annotations, and then you might use a tool like Hypothesis to invite community members to create additional annotations on top of yours. And then you can download all of those and add them into a project if you wanted to. So it actually works well with other, whatever browser tool you might want to be able to use, primarily because it is standards-based. This is, I'm going to just sort of start into the dashboard. Basically, the way that AVAnnotate functions, or sort of conceptual ideas behind it, is that each we are creating the projects around what we're calling events rather than singular recordings, because sometimes an event has multiple recordings. So you can imagine many of us on this call were recording things in the 80s, and you had a 60-minute audio tape, but it might be an hour-and-a-half event. So if you're creating this event in AVAnnotate, you might want to have the multiple recordings represented in it. When you create this event, we associate, as you can see on the screen, a manifest with that event. It is created and it is stored in your GitHub repository, and it has the appropriate information that you need for a basic IIIF manifest. This is what this looks like on the front end. This is a video project. You can see the video is in the middle. On the right are annotations that have been uploaded. You can see tags. I'll get into all of that in a second, and the various functionality. But what I wanted to point out here down in the bottom corner, I don't know if you can see that, I'm making it flash. We provide that IIIF button. So for any of the projects that you create, there will always be a IIIF manifest. I say always and showing you a YouTube video. This particular example, what we found with working with AV is that one of the things that people struggle with is a place to keep their AV that makes it accessible for IIIF. We do not store AV files. Everything we work with is through links. So we depend on Internet Archive quite a bit. Sometimes people upload things to GitHub, but as we all know, AV is really heavy. Those are big files and they're difficult to, they can take up a lot of space in your GitHub account. And what we found with AV is some of the most popular places that people store old movies might be YouTube, and IIIF doesn't actually support YouTube or Vimeo. We do in this project, but in this case, this might not be a valid IIIF manifest for that very reason. So I put that out there as a caveat. This tool, in some ways, it is taking in IIIF, and I'll show you that eventually. It is producing IIIF, but it is also meant to be a tool for people who don't actually care about IIIF at all. Sorry, guys. And they just want to be able to create projects for research and teaching. And we're happy to ask questions about that, or if you have questions, throw them in the chat, and I'm sure Ben will answer. So here's a little flow chart of how this works. The first step, you come in, you log into AVAnnotate with your GitHub credentials. That allows AVAnnotate to write to your GitHub, to a GitHub repo that you name. And it doesn't give it access to the rest of your GitHub account, but to those particular repositories. Because when you get to this dashboard that I'm going to show you in a second, the dashboard is reading your GitHub account. It is just looking at what's in your GitHub account and it's reflecting that back to you. Again, we do not have a database. There are a variety of ways you can get started. If you don't have a direct link, you can either upload something to the Internet Archive or wherever your favorite place is. Most of them still will work with AVAnnotate, even if they might not create IIIF manifests all the time. And you can proceed from there. Or I have projects where I have no media links at all, primarily because I want to be able to work on the projects. And I know that those AV materials are in an archive where they do not plan to put them online. But I see the advantage of creating the annotations anyway as being akin to finding a record that you enjoy at the record store and you think you want to know more about it, and you open it up and you look at the liner notes. It does help with discoverability and accessibility when people have a better sense of what is inside these things. If you have a direct link, you go directly to step 3, where we create a manifest for you. And then in the pink, if you already have a IIIF manifest, you go to step 4 and you start creating your annotations. Once you do, like I said, a lot of the work in creating annotations is your work. We don't do that automatically at all. And that is the intellectual conceptual work, creating annotations as well as creating tags and tag categories that allow for indexing inside the project. And you post your project, it gets posted. We have a bulk upload option with AVAnnotate. You can do all your work in spreadsheets. And then when you're done with all of your work, which I highly recommend doing it in spreadsheets, upload it, and we automatically produce an entire project, which I'll show you in a second. And then you can also customize it. So you can create essay pages around those recordings. You can create clips. I'll show you that too. From your events, you can create event clips and write around them. So you can say, you know, write a paragraph about this amazing scene in your favorite movie, and then just have a clip from that scene, and then continue to write about it on the page. So we have some customability that can happen as we go forward. So you can either auto-generate a whole project and be done with it, or you can spend a lot of time creating context and annotations around those events, or a little bit of time creating context around those events in order to make your assets more discoverable for a variety of users. So I'd like to sort of step ahead and show you some examples. I'm not sure if I shared. Well, we'll see. It doesn't necessarily matter. This is a very simple project that I made with recordings from the Library of Congress. You know, I've created a little essay as an introduction. Each of these recordings is actually available online from the Library of Congress. And at the Library of Congress, they look like this. As you can see, these are the highlight of these recordings for most people, most researchers, is the participation of Zora Neale Hurston. And this is what it looks like at the Library of Congress. The paragraph here tells you that Zora Neale Hurston is on here somewhere. And there's metadata that tells you that Zora Neale Hurston is on here somewhere. But it's a 58-minute long recording. And that's a lot of minutes to sort of figure out where Zora Neale Hurston is. With my project, I can filter for Zora Neale Hurston, and I can go to her directly, and I can play those with the timestamp. That was in 19. So stop. Sorry. A little glitchy. And I can filter for other kinds of things too. Like I have also noted where there's inaudible moments, and I might use this as a way to do quality control and to show people where the transcriptions maybe aren't so great. I can also, there is a page that, an index page where all of these tags are, and I can sort of see where my various tag categories are. So I have, these are my tag categories that I came up with. If I just want to know where I have marked speakers, I can do that across my 3 recordings. I can also go into a specific speaker and see where they are speaking across all of the recordings. And although I think it might not be working right now, I can also look when the glitch is fixed. I can click on these moments in time and it will play on this page. And they're all typically listed down below the player. So I can actually go in across the recordings and listen to a specific person who's been noted. I can see where they are speaking. You know, I happen to know Alabama Singleton is only on this recording. And sure enough, that's where she is. So basically, this is the front end. It allows you to create these pages. It allows you to sort of present the recordings differently with more information than how they might be presented at their original archival spot. Show you another one. This is a same general principle. You know, you have an introduction that tells you about the project. You have a film where you can filter through various pieces of information. Same general idea. You can search across everything. You can auto scroll. You can get rid of the tags completely if you don't like those. It just allows for a way of going through these projects. The other thing that we can do when we create pages, so this particular project is an old movie, It's one old movie, but a teacher and a student collaborated together to create versions, notes on the movie that you can compare across and play together if you want to. You can also, same thing, you can do auto scroll so that it goes across the annotations as you're playing. But it allows for this kind of comparison screen across films. And because you're constructing this page yourself, you could actually do 4 films. You could do 6 films on the same page, as much as you want, really, because you are, and I'll show you that in a second, but you are constructing these kinds of pages. These customable pages are, we have them created so that you can pull in just the media. You can pull in the media and the annotations, or you can, as I mentioned before, just create a clip. And even if you just create a clip, you can pull in just that clip in terms of the media, or you can pull in the annotations as well. And we're gonna get to questions, I promise. I just want to show you a few more examples. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. I just want to click this. Here is actually a page where you can see someone just went to town and created all kinds of clips. This is 30 seconds of this recording. This is, what is this? This is 30 to 45 seconds of a video clip. This is 2 audio recordings next to each other in case you want to compare those, et cetera, et cetera. And you can also put images. If you have an image URL, you can put images on these pages, all kinds of things to create context around these recordings. This is an example of an imported manifest. And what you can see here is that this particular recording was pulled in, this manifest was pulled in from the University of Alberta's aviary collection, for which they have manifests, and it comes with all different kinds of annotation sets. So you can choose which ones you want to see. Maybe you want to see an English transcript. Maybe you want to see the machine learning transcript at the same time. And maybe you want to see this other transcript and you want to be able to kind of compare them. These all have zeros, so doesn't look all that compelling, but I have another example to show you in a second. Oh, and this also has captions. So the other thing you can do is you can pull in an annotation set that functions as captions. We do take in VTT as an annotation set. So if you have VTT files and you want to be able to associate them with your assets and you don't have an application to do it, you can do it through AVAnnotate. It basically functions like everything else that I'm going to show you. And in fact, I have an example where you upload the annotations, you assign it as captions. You can have multiple things as captions. So maybe you want Spanish and English at the same time on a screen. You're able to do that. Let's see what else I have in here. Oh, yeah, wait, whoops. This is the other example I wanted to show you. I got lost. I think we're here. No, I don't want to start from there. I want to start from here. Okay. The other examples I wanted to show you were these multi-AV video pages. So if you've got multiple videos for a particular event, we show those in the table of contents down here, and you can filter through different annotation sets with each one. You have the first version and the second version. And we do the same with audio. So it looks like this, the same. And from here, if the annotations had been uploaded, you would see them for the various items on the single page. Let's see. Before we get into kind of the back end, because I wanted to show you how this works from the dashboard, I want to see if there's any questions that people have that we might address before moving forward, because I want to make sure that everyone's understanding what I'm presenting. And you can just speak out. I can't see hands or anything, but I do want to check in.
So I noticed that you have a built-in tool to generate the IIIF manifest on any page of the project. And you listed out all the great advantages of using IIIF, but then said, well, also we have people who use it and don't really care about IIIF. So I'm a little bit confused. What would we be using the IIIF for if we don't actually really need it?
So there are a variety of reasons to produce IIIF. And in part, it is a representation of the information that is more sustainable and portable than just web pages. That's one reason. So regardless of whether people who are using the tool care about that, we care about that. It is also makes sure that there's a representation of the content and the material that could be ported into a library, DAMs, or some other use case that maybe people don't foresee now, but might have in the future. It essentially, the principles of the project aren't just to create context around the recordings, but to create sustainable information around the recordings that can be shared and saved in ways that IIIF can make possible.
Okay,
Thank you for your question. All right, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Whoops, that's not what you guys want to see. Let me get back to there we go. All right, so when you log into AVAnnotate, you will have a dashboard. Your dashboard is likely empty. My dashboard has a bunch of cards on it, and these are my projects. When you open the dashboard, it spins for a second. We are dependent on GitHub. And so sometimes things take a second to build. Sometimes the project pages take a second to present to you. And those are some of the things that we have to put up with because we've chosen to not use our own database that would have to be fed and nurtured forever. You can also get to shared projects, and shared projects you can see under the tab on the left under projects. Shared projects are projects or repositories in GitHub that you have shared with other people. We do have an interface here in these cards under settings where you can just put in someone's GitHub username, and then they become they can have access to that repo, and therefore they can also have access to that project through AVAnnotate. Other ways that people can collaborate, other than giving them, carte blanche access to your project on the back end, is a lot of people collaborate on the spreadsheets, which I'll get to in a second, which allows for a lot more granular permissions. So this is a very small type, but the first thing you're going to do in AVAnnotate is create a project to create those project cards. It includes, a title to your project, a description. You can choose the language that it's going to be in so that the browser anticipates the kinds of special characters you might be using. And a project slug. This is typically what your URL is going to look like. And under here is where you would include collaborators. Secondly, you create an event. This is where you would come in, you would create a label for that event. You would tell AVAnnotate if it's audio or video so it knows which player to put into place. It has a label and then a file URL. This is, again, if you're creating a manifest. If you're importing a manifest, you would just need the URL to that manifest. Once you create your events, this is what your backend looks like. You end up with, this is that Zora Neale Hurston example. You end up with these 3 pages. You can move them around. You can create additional pages and have them in between. You can create child pages. This particular example that you see in front of you was a conference, and there were multiple recordings over various days of the conference, and I wanted to organize my project around those various days rather than the recordings. So I can move those pages around the way that I want in the back end. You can also organize your tags and categorize them. You can create tag groups. You can create tags. You can delete tags and delete tag groups. You can move tags in between tag groups. And all of this becomes very useful when people are creating projects and they might not even know while they're creating projects how they want to categorize things or where the salient aspects of their project are going to will inhabit. And then on the back end, you can also edit all of your annotations. You can create annotations, you can edit annotations, you can add tags to your annotations, you can take away tags from your annotations. And you can also listen on the back end. So there's a player here that allows you to check whether things are right. You can copy the timestamp of something in the player itself and create an additional annotation. This is what the context pages look like. So you create a title, you decide which is a parent page. We don't have grandchildren. There's too many hierarchies down, but we do have parent and children pages. And this is where you would, we also have formatting. You can create columns. You can create, this is where you would insert a single event. You can also insert a table of contents for the whole project on this page. So it allows you some flexibility on creating a front page, which is what I've done here. And that will, that table of contents module will update based on however you move your pages around in the previous dashboard page that I showed you. Again, here we have, this is what it looks like when you insert a media part, and you can edit it once you insert it, or you can delete it. And you can write around it, and you can write above it, you can write below it, you can include the annotations or not. You can do clips, as I showed you before, but this is kind of what it looks like on the back end. This is what it looks like to do the comparison pages. And the other thing that, I'll show you today is bulk uploads. This is kind of my preferred way of making a project, is to create spreadsheets and then upload those spreadsheets, and then the system will automatically create your pages, and then you can go in and move things around, create context pages, etc. The first thing you typically upload is an events spreadsheet. This event spreadsheet is very simple. You have a label, an event type, the file label, a URL to those labels. You can create, or to those files, you can create a citation, you can create a description. If you have multiple recordings for a particular event, you would just upload the first recording through the spreadsheet, and then you would have to go into the dashboard to add the second recording. When you upload them, it sort of works like Excel. It recognizes your columns and it asks you to confirm what information is in which column. You can delete from here and start over. And again, this shows you what that front page looks like. Then you would upload your tags. You can organize them beforehand, or if you have no idea what tags and categories you want to use, you can do that later. And again, like I showed you, once you upload all of these, you can also change them, edit them. Let's say, you misspelled something, you can fix that on the back end. You don't have to re-upload. And again, in the back, you can add, delete, you can change the colors of the tags in the front end if that's what you would like to do. The other thing I want to note on this page is the CSV button. All of these things, if you edit them up online, you can pull the CSV back down. So if you put your events up and then you edit them, you can get that CSV back. If you upload your tags and categories and you edit it and you want that CSV back, you can do that. Same with the annotations as you go forward. And then finally, once you've created your events and uploaded your tags, you would go into a single event, and this is where you would upload your annotations. Annotations or an annotation spreadsheet is also very simple. You have a start time, an end time, the body of the annotation, and then tags. And you can have as many tags as you want. We separate them by vertical bars, pipes, and the annotations I've seen all kinds of things. Sometimes they're transcriptions, sometimes they're descriptions of a scene, sometimes it's scholarly commentary. It can be all kinds of things as well. Your tags and categories can be all kinds of things depending on what you're interested in making accessible and discoverable to your user community. Again, importing the annotation file, very simple. You can upload it and the software is going to ask you to confirm what the columns are. So this is just sort of I'm going to show you some live things in a second. There are some relevant links in this slide deck. We did share the slide deck with you in the chat. We are going to, and Sam can also give you links to some of these things in the chat. The website is the AVAnnotate.org website. I did create a Slack invitation for people if they want to join Slack so that we can talk about bugs or features, etc. There is a Google group that we will start using now more readily because I feel like the application is ready for public consumption. There is a link to the application, which you can also find on the website. Documentation, which we are building out day by day, and then our workshop link. Sam, if you don't mind putting the workshop link in there, that would be great. Before we start this, I'm going to stop for another minute to see if people have questions. Let's see. Yeah, thank you, Sam. Any questions before we move on? No. Okay. You are welcome to just watch me click through things, or that workshop presentation page basically has all the information you need in it. If you're the kind of person who wants to work ahead and kind of click through the things and the links, feel free to. If you encounter bugs, be patient. We are working on those and trying to get and please let us know because we are trying to get to them as quickly as we can. Okay. Since there are no questions, I'm going to share my screen. Again, here's a link to the slides on this page. Also a working list of features we have here. These are many of the things that I just explained to you, probably some things I forgot, which is very, very likely. This is one thing I briefly mentioned, but want to say again. We will have, you do have the ability to use GitHub private repos. We don't have documentation up about that yet, but it is possible. And we don't have documentation up yet, again, also about how you can download your project and use it offline as a freestanding site. In that case, you might have to do some work on the back end, configuring it so that it can find your audio files. I know in some of the archives that I've worked in, I would get the AV materials on a CD. AVAnnotate cannot work with a CD, but what it can do is if you create, annotations and context on the side with timestamps, people can follow along on the CD and sort of navigate themselves. Let's see. I think I mostly got to everything else on that feature list. Okay, so on this guide for creating a project, what we've led you to first is a quick start on the AVAnnotate site. And this is something you will always have access to these workshop materials, but you can also readily find these really quick steps. These quick steps walk you through making a sort of manual project, which is to say this is not the spreadsheet upload version of it, but you can make a project where you do everything and you just enter it in, or you pull in a manifest and it will pull in some cases, it will pull in the annotation files with it, and you can assign those and work with those. As we described at the beginning, not all manifests, unfortunately, are created the same way by various institutions. And so some manifests come in really easily and with all of their annotation files, captions, and transcripts, and all kinds of things. And then others, and I'll show you that in a second, others just come with the URL for the file, and we don't even get metadata out of those particular IIIF manifests. This is because IIIF is a consortium of people. AV is something that has been not used as widely as using it for image files, and institutions and communities creating players are still working very hard to make sure we're all creating the same kind of thing. But sometimes that's not always the case, and oftentimes it's a good reason. It doesn't mean people aren't following the IIIF guidelines. They're just following them differently. So again, it describes how to log in. It describes, how to find the application. First, you create an event. It gives you scenarios where, let's say your files are online and you have a URL. What do I do? My file has a IIIF manifest. What do I do? I do not have a direct link or a IIIF manifest. And then finally, I have multiple events I want to upload in bulk. And that gets you to the bulk upload directions, which I'm going to show you in a moment. And then adding annotations and adding pages. Again, the documentation and more documentation about bulk uploads is linked at the bottom of that page. So I'm just going to walk you through. I'm just going to do a sort of live version of this. What I've given you below, this is the, you can use this one if you're creating a project. This is the information about the Zora Neale Hurston recording. I've also given you the link to the recording itself. This is an OGG file. We will play those too. And I've also given you a video example if you want to just go ahead and do this yourself. This is the YouTube video example, but there's also a manifest with another video down below. We usually also use a Camille video. Actually, Camille might still be on here. Yeah, Camille's down here. There's other videos down here if you want to create something that has will create a viable IIIF manifest. But I have those down there for you to do on your own in a moment. I just wanted to show you how this works. So I'm going to, I'm just going to go to this projects page and pull that out. And I'm going to close these because I have too many things open and just get to here. Okay. Let me just pull this over here. Sorry about that. All right. So as you can see, it takes a moment to load the projects. We were just talking about this in a development meeting yesterday. Currently, the cards that you'll see have who else is a collaborator on it, as well as when it was last edited. Apparently, that makes the loading of this project, plus I have a ton of projects, makes the loading of this project a little bit more, this project page a little bit slower. And so we're trying to work through ways on how to make it faster by maybe taking away that information and putting it on settings. Okay, I'm going to create a project. So if I'm doing this by hand, I'm going to give this a title. Okay, let's see. All right, so this is where we go to create a new project. You give it a name, a description, project slug. So I might call this one Workshop Zora. And I might, this is just sort of a name here, but this is where I can add additional collaborators. You know, I might add Anandita because she works with me on performance. And this way, this would also show up in her particular project. I can start adding tags here if I want, if I have a tags file. So I'm creating the project and, oops, it's not letting me add additional users. So let's just get rid of that for now. Oh, and it looks like I've already done this, which I haven't. That's interesting. Okay. And now basically what it's doing is it's gone into my GitHub repository and it's created that repo. And then I'm led here to create an event. I might, you know, I'm just gonna grab it from here because this is what I'm doing. Grabbing it from here. This is my audio type, you know, this is recording 1, and I've given you the URL to that particular recording. The duration is here. IIIF requires a duration. You can typically get that. Sometimes it will figure it out itself. Sometimes it won't. It doesn't actually have an impact on the way the player works with the AV artifact. It is primarily there because it is required for IIIF. Whoops. Sorry, and then it transposes it into from 58 minutes, 50 seconds to that. Okay, and then I'm gonna have a description. Citation if I want it. These things are optional. And then it asks me if I want to generate a web page. So if you're not ready to publish what you're working on yet, you might want to upload all your events and not create a web page that plays your event. But if you are ready to just kind of go and you want to create your pages, then it will auto-generate a page for you. The other reason to not auto-generate a page is if you just plan to make lots of pages that are clips, you might not want the entire event on a page. You might just only be interested in clips. That's another reason. So just even at the get-go, I've got a landing page and I've got this page that's building right now. We'll go look at it in a second. These are events. The same works with audio, with video. And I can also show you how this works with 2 different kinds of manifests. I'm going to show you the aviary manifest primarily because I know that this manifest comes with a lot of annotation sets, and I want you to be able to see what that looks like. So this is what the aviary project looks like on the aviary installation at the University of Alberta. It comes with all different kinds of transcripts and captions, all different kinds of supplemental files, and description with all of this metadata. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how you can create an event on that same project using a manifest. So we take the manifest link. If I'm on this page, they have a really handy manifest link. So I can just take it from here. But I've also provided it for you on the instructions. And I'm going to go back to my projects. I am going to add another event, and I can just do it with importing the manifest. So I just stick the URL in there. It analyzes it, tells me that it was successful. I'm going to say this is a manifest from Alberta and save it. And it's doing the same thing that it did with the previous event. It's going into the GitHub repo and it is creating pages. This was called imported event. That's not super helpful in terms of me, what I want it to look like on the page. So I can come in and I can call it what it is actually called if I want to. Because sometimes the information comes in ways, but it does have the type. It gave it that this file name, maybe I want to call it reading instead. But it also automatically has the duration. And more interestingly, perhaps it came with all of these annotations that are now in the project just because I put the manifest in there, including this one, which is a caption. So what I can do for this annotation set is I can come in and I can tell the application that it is a caption. If it's WebVTT or if the speakers are indicated with a colon, it will actually also automatically create speaker name tags for you for your project. But since that doesn't seem to be part of this transcript, it's not allowing that. And then we also have here, you can pick which file it's for in that event, because sometimes there's multiple files. And in this case, there's one video. And then we'll show you what that looks like. I'm going to hit save. This is going to take a moment to build. But I can go to my project and I can see that the first one has already built, the first page. It's here. As you recall, I just put in the recordings and I haven't uploaded any annotations yet. And the second page might take a moment. But I do want to show you what is happening over in GitHub. So we have, if I go to my repositories, you can see that this one is the page that I just built. You can see what was built inside my repo. There are the annotations, including the manifest, I think is in here. We do keep a copy of the manifest that we pulled in. There's also other pages here that are part of what we're creating and create those Jekyll pages. Let's see. Let's see if it's built yet. Like I said, it does take a minute. That one might be taking a little bit longer. And it may be that I made it a caption too quickly. Are there questions while that's building? Do you all want to have this larger conversation about AAAF manifests for a moment? There is a question if there is a sort of AAAF style guide to work with AVAnnotate. Ben, do you want to explain the different kinds of manifests and why some may work and some may not?
Sure, I can try. So one of the challenges that we kind of run into is that out in the wild, everyone is implementing typically their own AAAF manifests for their own viewers at their own institution. So you end up with a lot of things that are internally consistent, but not as interoperable as we might want. Sometimes that comes down to issues of feature set compatibility. So for example, RAMP at IU is really, really fantastic at displaying structures within a manifest. So, you know, acts of plays and scenes and things within them, stuff like that. It's really pretty nice. AVAnnotate deals with annotations and not structures at all, right? So, you know, if you import something into RAMP, it's not gonna, you know, the cool things about RAMP are not actually going to be visible in an AVAnnotate manifest. Sometimes we run into other issues in terms of annotations themselves and how selectors are defined, whether they use URL fragments or selector stanzas with range selectors or point selectors in them. What we're trying to do is to produce manifests that, you know, to the extent the features are supported by players, will work in as many players as possible, and then ingest manifests from as many as possible. So we're trying to be conservative in what we produce and very liberal in what we accept. This might be a great time to plug the AV team's efforts to go through an integration, do integration testing between different producers and players, by the way.
Yes. So we are also in the AV community group. One of our self-imposed I guess responsibilities is we're constantly testing the various players with the various manifests produced in order to make sure that development isn't getting ahead of the manifests or changes in the manifests aren't getting ahead of the players. The best guide, I think, to use for manifest remains the recipes on the IIIF site, because if we're all following the same rules, then we should be interoperable. It's a great question. And it's part of the reason that this is such a strong community to be, and an important community to be involved with, because if you are part of these conversations, then you can advocate for these ideas about interoperability back in your home institution, I think in powerful ways. I'm going to, it's about 11:20. I'm wondering if people are interested in trying to build projects. The only thing that I really have left to show you is kind of how you build a page, and I can do that really quickly. And then Sam and I are here to support you if you want to try something and see if it works. We also really want to know if there are problems or issues. The other thing that I can show you that is on this page that I wanted to mention, it's nice to know I can go in here without having a Zoom bomber. That's never happened to me before. It's a little disturbing. Okay. There's another example on here that is WebVTT files. So often we use IIIF manifests from the Internet Archive, but because they were recently hacked, their manifests are not manifesting. But that's been a huge development for the IIIF community because there are so many audio and video assets in the Internet Archive. Sarah and Ben were important members of that conversation at the Internet Archive, and they know everything about it. So anyway, so this is on the workshop. What we have here is this particular, what I'm calling an event, because it has multiple assets to it. It's not just one recording at the Internet Archive. And it's a video. Let's make sure that it's actually working. All right. It's a video and it has a lot of different kinds of files that you can download from there. And so it's great for a project like ours because it allows you to play with a whole bunch of things, including web VTT files or VTT files. Let's see, that's not loading for some reason. So let me just go to the direct link that I put here, which is here. So these are associated with that recording. You can see here that there's a movie file. There's 2 VTT files, one in English and one in Spanish. There is an MP3, which is just audio. There's an MP4, which is just, which is a film. And then there's a picture. So you could actually use that link to create a front page if you wanted to. Giving credit, of course, where credit is due. And what I can show you is how it works to do the WebTT files. Let me get back to my project. So I'm going to add another event. I'm going to call this Inside the Movies, because that's what it is. It's a video, and I have the URL to the video here. So I'm just gonna snag that. Sorry, I've lost my page. The duration is going to be on the front page, I think. It is, let's see, 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Last time I did this, it actually pulled it in itself, so it may have done that. Nope. Let's see, 440. Okay. I'm going to label it movie and give it a brief description. This is a test of VTT. And save. And then I'm going to go here, and I've already downloaded the VTT files. They're here in English and in Spanish. And I'm just going to upload them both to create a player page with both in there. And the way I do that is I go into the event. And actually, I can do it a different way. It's a little bit more descriptive. So I'm going into this event on the back end. I'm going to add an annotation set, and I'm going to call this English VTT. There's one file there. I hit save. And then I'm going to choose that one, and I'm going to import the VTT file, which is in my downloads, because like I said, I just downloaded it yesterday. Whoops. Okay. Oh, sorry. I think I hit the wrong thing. Okay. Choose a file, downloads, English. And it pulls it in. It looks like an annotation set. And you hit save. And then I might, I'm just going to put there's a default set, but I can add my Spanish to that and then change the name. So this one would be called, Spanish, or maybe I'm going to do Espanol VTT. And I want to use movie again. And then I'm going to choose that, and I'm going to import. Choose a file. There's my Spanish one. Hit save. And this will take a minute for this page to build. Once it, I'm going to let it build this time before creating those as captions, but I can do that. Well, I might as well just do it. Well, I wanted to build. I can show you what it looks like built. Basically, it looks like, I just had it. Built, it looks like this. So I have my Spanish, I have my English VTT, I have my Spanish VTT, and I think I put them both as captions just to see what it would look like. Oh, I guess I can choose. So you can see that it's creating the caption there. Maybe I'm going to turn English off, and I'm just going to look at, you know, the annotations in Spanish and see the captions in English. Something like that. Anyway, so that's how VTT works. We are having some trouble with the aviary manifest, speaking of, so this particular manifest isn't going to work, but this one won't work. So I'm just going to highlight it in yellow today. We are actively working on making that work, but there is an audio manifest that you could try from the Ransom Center. I know that one works. And then the last examples on here, which I encourage people to use, is there are additional instructions for creating spreadsheets and uploading spreadsheets. We have templates for you here. And I've also given you some example. So this is for the Lonely Villa project, which is on the slides, but I can put a link to it here for you. But what I've given you is an event spreadsheet, a tags spreadsheet that you can download and upload, annotations for the suspense film and the Lonely Villa film. I can also put a link on here for the project, the way that it looks like when you are done with it. But the best way to go about, this is going to take a minute to upload. In fact, I know where the slides are. They're here. So the Lonely Villa project was the film project that I was showing you. So you can build this project basically with just those files. So if you want, I'll show you how. You're welcome to watch, or you're welcome just to follow the directions and do it yourself. But it's really simple and straightforward. So you would go to Add Project. Again, I'm going to call this one Testing Lonely Villa. Testing. Again, film test. This is, whoops. Just can't use that either. Sorry. Okay. Just going to create the project, and then I go in and I'm going to upload those spreadsheets. First, I upload the event spreadsheet, and then, or I can start with tags and upload the tag spreadsheet. But those are best to do, they're project level tags. And so you want to upload your events and your tag spreadsheet before you do the annotations, primarily because if you upload the annotations and you haven't, and your annotations have tags, they will be represented in the project, but they won't be organized based on category. So then you'd have to go in and organize everything based on the categories. You can do that later if you don't have tags yet, it's totally fine. But if you have your tags, it's best to upload them first. So I'm going to take this event spreadsheet that I've given you, and I'm going to download it. You can download it as Excel or CSV or TSV. Obviously, it takes in web VTT files as well. So that's that. I don't like that file name. Should have given it a different file name. I would not suggest uploading this with the ampersand in it. That seems like a recipe for disaster. It just seems wrong to me. So I'm going to change the file name. Update it the next time we have a workshop. Okay. Then we're coming back to the project page. I'm going to import these events. You can see it's already figured out what each of these things are. I hit import. My file does have a header. So I'm going to, it has this as a header. In fact, I'm going to take this out there for you so you don't have to worry about it if you go ahead and download it. Because, oops, did not notice that. Okay. And now I'm going to download my tags. File, download the tags. I'm going back here. Okay, sorry. So I haven't pressed save yet. So then I'm going to save the events here. I'm just going to make up a number right now because I don't have it in front of me. But you can put the real number. Sometimes it figures out the duration and sometimes it doesn't, depending on how the duration is expressed in the particular asset. And from here, I'm also going to upload my tags. So tags. This is my tag category. This is my tag name. Import that. No, see, I did that wrong. I'm going to undo it. This is actually the tag name. This is the tag name, and this is the tag category. Import. So that looks right now. So I'm going to save that. And then you can see my project now has the categories and the tags so that when I go in and I upload, so now I'm going to get the annotations for each of these. Download that as an Excel file. And I promise I'm just going to stop showing things in a second. But so then I go into suspense film. I'm going to import my annotations for it. Start time, end time, annotation. The tags are there. I'm pretty sure I had a, yeah, I had a header. Yes. Just making sure. I'm going to import that and hit save. And now everything's the way it's supposed to be on this end. And it is very likely building on the front end. So these pages will take a minute to build because things are moving around on GitHub. You can actually see it in action. If I go in my repos and I go to film test, I can go to actions in GitHub and it's adding all the annotations and building the pages. I'm going to stop sharing at this point. Oh, thanks, Emma. I did not like that bomber. Yeah, that was awful. If people just want to play, we have about 25 minutes. We can discuss things that come up, or if you have questions. Again, it is still under development in some ways, so please let me know if you encounter bugs. The good thing about working with us is sometimes we know when something is a bug and when something is, I wouldn't go so far as to say user error, but if you're working with spreadsheets, sometimes things can get confusing. You can also put, I don't have an example to show you today, but you can also put HTML tags in your annotations. So if you want to highlight something, or if you want to create a link to something, you can also do that. There's a lot of flexibility. People seem to find that people seem to find that level of flexibility to be both exciting as well as overwhelming, because there's so many things you can do. Trip has a question. AVAnnotate seems to get permissions to GitHub organizations I've got high privileges in. Is that AVAnnotate or me, or those orgs or GitHub? It's not necessarily my place to allow AVAnnotate privileges in my library organization. I think that working with these tools may or may not, I think it depends on your organization's protocols about these various topics. I think that's pretty much the answer. There's downsides and upsides to using GitHub. As we all know, there's downsides and upsides to using Google. We're taking advantage of the upsides of GitHub, but we do take seriously the downsides. One of the things that we also talk to people about is what's nice about this project is that these are static pages that you're creating. So if GitHub goes down, you can get all of your stuff out of it. It's not, they are pages that can live in other platforms. I don't think you're missing a step, Marcella. It might take a minute to build. But that might also be an internal error on our side. Let me try it on mine too and see if that's happening. It is likely not user error, because it should be pretty simple. Let me try and create a page. Yeah, that does seem like an error. I'm not sure why that's happening. I'll let them know. That takes the fun out of it. Zoom bomber, bugs.